Hello and welcome to a new video. In this video I want to react on a video I have seen in my timeline here, which is called Why Solo WoW Players Keep Restarting, the Real Reason. I really like those sort of philosophical gaming content, especially for World of Warcraft, and this video got already more than 50,000 views from a channel with about 800 subscribers. It's 3 weeks old and I thought I want to look into this with you together, so let's dive into it.
There is a character I've made more times than I can count. Different names, different servers, different years. Sometimes human, sometimes night elves, sometimes horde, because this time, I tell myself, it will be different. This time, I will reach max level. This time I will join a guild. This time I will finally see what everyone else means when they talk about the real game. And for a while it works. The music starts, the world opens, a yellow exclamation mark appears above an NPC's head. I kill wolves, I collect candles, I deliver letters, I find a slightly better pair of boots. And somehow this is enough. Not just enough. It's perfect. But then, somewhere along the way, something changes. The quests get longer, the zones get quieter, the talent points start to feel more serious. The chat fills up with dungeon groups, guild recruitment, raid plans, and abbreviations I understand just well enough to avoid. And I begin to feel it. The quiet pressure, the sense that I am walking towards a door the game expects me to open. The door that leads to dungeons, guilds, raids, schedules, voice chat, responsibility, and other people depending on me. And then, without any dramatic decision, I stop logging in. Not because I hate the game, not because I'm bored, not even because I do not want to continue, I just drift away. Months pass, maybe.
I let this run a little bit by now because I obviously wanted to see in what direction this video will go. Kind of interesting. I'm a complete different kind of player. I absolutely go to the end game. I often don't rush it, I level in my own pace, but for me there is always this goal at the end where I know that the real game begins with starting to gearing up, get better gear, get the stuff I'm supposed to get the maximum out of my character in raids, which are the true endgame goals for me. I see this point with the responsibilities, especially now since I became a dad, it becomes harder and harder for me to get those raids running. Meeting twice a week for raids is a lot, and as you maybe know, I play different versions of World of Warcraft, so I have to look really carefully where I spend my time to go into endgame to make this possible for me, what I want to do, and for the content I do. Really interesting. Want to see what else he has to say about this, and especially this sort of mindset to play the game.
Years. Then one day I hear the music again, or I watch a classic WoW video, or someone mentions Baron's chat, or I remember the feeling of being small in a huge world. So I resubscribe, I make a new character, and the cycle begins again.
Kinda interesting. I have to say, when I first started World of Warcraft, I don't know how old I was, 13 or something like this. And back in the day, there was no pressure to play the game. Everyone tried to learn the game and see what is possible in the game. And back then, I didn't even know what endgame was. I played kind of the same way he played this here right now. I just made characters which I thought was cool, wanted to see the classes and just level, and I started over and over again with other classes and characters to see the other areas, for example. No pressure, nothing else, just playing the game. So kinda sort of the same mindset, I would say.
For years, I thought this was a personal failure. Maybe I had no discipline, maybe I lacked commitment, maybe I was just bad at MMORPGs. Maybe I liked the idea of World of Warcraft more than I liked the actual game. But
Yeah, but that's okay, right? I mean, everyone should play the game the way the person enjoys it. And if that's how you want to spend your time and having fun playing like this, then this is absolutely okay. You don't have to min-max for endgame if you don't want to do it. You play a game to have fun. So I like where this video is going to, I think.
after repeating the same pattern for years, that explanation stopped making sense. Because this was not just a gaming habit, it was a pattern. And once you see the pattern clearly, the forever solo player starts to look very different. Not like someone who failed to play the game properly, but like someone who found meaning in one part of the world and friction in another. The beginning of World of Warcraft is one of the most comforting places ever built in a video game. And that might sound strange because the early quests are not exactly masterpieces of design. The combat is simple, the objectives are basic. Half the time an NPC is just standing there asking you to kill 8 things that have been mildly annoying to them. But that simplicity is exactly why it works.
Yeah, it's a cozy environment for people starting the game and to feel good, get really early rewards for the things they do in a really short cycle, and there is zero pressure. You are just there to have fun, if you're not sweating, of course. So I understand him here. That's really, really cool, yeah?
The early game gives you something life often does not: a clear goal, a clear reward, and the feeling that you are making progress. You know what you are supposed to do, you know when you have to do it, and then when you do it, the world rewards you. The bar moves, the sound plays, the number goes up. And that might seem small, but it feels good for a reason. The game makes a promise: do this and you will grow. And then it keeps that promise over and over again. You also get freedom, but not so much freedom that you feel lost. You can follow the road, you can wander into a cave, you can spend 10 minutes fishing because the lake looks peaceful. You can take a wrong turn and call it exploration. And most importantly, other players are there, but they do not demand anything from you.
That's not quite true. I mean, you can group up early and you even have to do it for elite quests, for example, like this one he's showing here, the Pick Princess or Hawker, for example. Kind of necessary to group up, so there is the first touch point with other players, but this goes even more into the magic in my opinion, because all of a sudden you can play with other people together. If I think of these early days, this was just magical. It's common nowadays, of course, but it's also without pressure in my opinion.
In the early game, people are more like atmosphere. Someone runs past you on the road, someone helps kill a mob, someone throws you a buff, someone is fighting their own little battle 10 yards away. You're not alone, but you're not obligated either. That's the magic. For a certain kind of player, especially someone who likes being alone but does not necessarily want to feel isolated, this is almost perfect. A living world with
Are you guys feeling alone, or do you like playing isolated? I think playing an MMO is exactly the wrong game for having this mindset in my opinion, because there are so many other games out there, single player games, where you can exactly live this out. But MMO is made to play with other players, and nowadays everyone knows this, right? So really interested how you enjoy World of Warcraft and how you would like to enjoy World of Warcraft. Let me know in the comments down below.
without social pressure, community without commitment, presence without performance. You are sharing the world with other people, but the game still belongs to you. You move on your own pace. You decide when to engage. You decide when to disappear into the trees. And because that challenge is usually tuned just right, the early game can pull you into the state where time starts slipping away.
Yeah, that's true. The performance thing is an absolute issue World of Warcraft has. To be forced to perform and to be there all the time, you are not planning your own time in the game anymore. It's the only way to see certain content, of course, but there is a huge difference to the early game he describes here, which gives you complete freedom and complete fun with the game.
You are not bored. You're not overwhelmed. You're just locked in. The enemies are not too easy. The quests are not too hard. The world is not empty. The stakes are not crushing. Everything is just enough. And then, slowly, the game begins to ask for more. At first, group content does not feel like a threat. It feels like an invitation, a dungeon quest here, a group elite there. A friend says, "Wanna do dead mines?" And sometimes that invitation is exciting. There is something genuinely magical about entering a dungeon for the first time with 4 other people. The world suddenly becomes more dangerous, more coordinated, more alive. But underneath that excitement, another feeling starts to appear. Because a dungeon is not just harder content, it changes the whole mood of the game. When you're questing alone, you can fail privately. You can pull too many mobs, panic, run, die, resurrect, and no one has to know. You can stop mid-quest and read your talents. You can take a wrong turn. You can be inefficient. You can be new. But in a group, your mistakes become visible. Suddenly, the game is not asking, "Can you do this?" It's asking, "Can you do this while other people are watching?" And that is a completely different feeling. For some players, that is where the game really comes alive. The teamwork, the jokes in chat, the shared panic when everything goes wrong, the relief when the boss finally dies. That is the point.
Yeah, or when everything goes good, then you have an accomplishment together, which just feels even better, to be honest.
But for the solo-leaning player, especially the introverted one, that social layer can feel less like excitement and more like pressure. Not because they hate people, not because they can't cooperate, not because they are antisocial, but because being around people, even digitally, still costs energy. And the more the game asks you to coordinate, the louder it gets.
But then an MMO isn't the game you should play, right? You can decide what you do with your time, and an MMO is made to play with other people in the end. So if you're not feeling good playing it, then play something else. Use your time otherwise.
Even if nobody is speaking, even if the dungeon group is silent, even if everyone is perfectly nice, other people change the task. Now you're not only thinking, what spell should I use? You're also thinking, am I too slow? Should I already know this? Is the tank annoyed? Did I roll need on the wrong item? Was that my fault? Should I apologize? Should I say nothing? And this is where the forever solo player begins to feel the first signs of distance. Not from Azeroth, from the part of Azeroth that everyone else seems to be gathering. One strange thing about MMORPGs is that the social pressure can be invisible to the people who enjoy it. If you love group content, a dungeon might feel simple. You join, you clear, you loot, you leave. But for someone who manages their social energy carefully, that same dungeon is not one activity. It is several activities stacked on top of each other. You're playing your class, you're watching the enemies, you're watching your group, you're reading chat, you're trying to keep up, you're trying not to make the run worse for anyone else. And somewhere underneath all that, you're trying to have fun. That is a lot to hold in your head at once. Of course, solo play has things to think about too. Read the quests, find the location, fight the enemy, loot the item, go back. But there is room to breathe. Group play adds layers, and often the hardest layers are ones nobody explains. Nobody says, we're skipping this pack. They just skip it. Nobody says, roll greed on this unless it's your main spec. They just expect you to know.
Yeah, here's a point here. A lot of things are not explained anymore by the players in game because this game is really old. So a lot of players playing this game for 10, 15, 20 years or long. And if someone is new and doesn't know those unspoken rules, of course, this can lead to pressure to those people. I think it's also a point that a lot of players, especially MMO players, probably sitting a lot of time behind their PC. And because of this, they kind of lose the ability to change their own perspective, their own view of mind to other people. Sometimes it feels impossible for them to think that someone could be new and don't see you understand that. Here's a good point here, because that can lead to pressure, absolutely for sure. But to make this more enjoyable for everyone, it would help if you just sometimes type some nice words into the chat. Even start the dungeon group with "Hi," or something like this. That helps to make it more enjoyable for everyone. It's just my 2 cents about this.
Nobody says the healer needs mana. The healer just sits down and everyone either waits or does not. Over time, these little unspoken rules create a kind of fog. The game becomes less about exploring a fantasy world and more about avoiding invisible mistakes. And that does not usually make you quit right away. It is much quieter than that. You log in and think about what you could do. You could quest, but the good rewards are in dungeons. You could do a dungeon, but that means finding a group. You could find a guild, but that means introducing yourself. You could keep leveling, but you know the game is slowly moving towards even more group content anyway. And suddenly logging in feels heavier than not logging in. That is the moment many solo players disappear. Not because they made some big decision, but because the game became something they had to prepare themselves for. Every MMORPG has 2 worlds. There is the world on the map, Elwyn Forest, Stormwind, Stranglethorn Vale, Ironforge, Orgrimmar, and then there is the world players build on top of it. The guilds, raid teams, loot systems, class roles, server reputation, shared memories. And the deeper you go into World of Warcraft, the more important that second world becomes. This is where the solo player can start to feel like a ghost. You are technically in the same world as everyone else. You can see them, you can inspect their gear, you can watch them gather at the bank before the raid night. But you're not part of the system that gives those things meaning. You don't have a raid spot, you don't have guild inside jokes, you don't have a role people rely on, and you don't have that shared history of wipes, recoveries, loot drama, and late-night victories. You are there, but you are not really inside it. In a game like World of Warcraft, your character is not just what class you picked. It is also where you fit. A warrior is not just a warrior. They might be the main tank. A priest is not just a priest. It might be the healer everyone trusts. A mage is not just a mage. They might be the person everyone asks for portals and water. The game gives people a place, but usually that
Yeah, it gives people a social structure. That's what MMOs a lot of times just do. Not just playing, it's this whole system behind it, social structures behind it, guilds, groups, friend groups, people asking you for help on some things in the game, asking you for help on their builds and how they can get other gear and get better at the game. All of this stuff is part of an MMO. That's the whole point I was writing on early on. If you don't want to interact with other players, a MMO shouldn't be the right game for you, in my opinion.
Place comes through other people. For the forever solo player, this can create a quiet kind of alienation. No one rejected you, no one is kicking you out, no one said you do not belong here. But the game's culture keeps implying something. The real memories are happening over there. The real progression is happening over there. The real game is happening over there. And you are still out here, killing wolves. That is the strange contradiction of solo MMORPG play. In the early game, solitude feels magical. But later on, the same solitude can start to feel like failure. The real game starts at max level. Few phrases have shaped MMORPG culture more than this. And to be fair, people say it for a reason. Max level is where the raids are, the best gear, the hardest challenges, the long-term systems. But there is another message hidden inside that phrase. It quietly says that everything before max level is just preparation, a tutorial, a waiting room, a road to somewhere more important. And if you never reach that place, then maybe your journey did not really count. But what if the road was the part that you actually loved? What if your favorite version of World of Warcraft was not the optimized version, not the scheduled version, not the version with spreadsheets and consumables and voice comms? What if your favorite version was simply a character with bad gear, a half-empty bag, 2 silvers to their name, walking into a zone they have not outgrown yet? Some players want to conquer the game. Some players want to master it. Some players want to become known inside it. But some players just want to inhabit it. They want atmosphere, discovery, a sense of place. The feeling that around the next hill, something might be waiting.
Understand that that's the exploration in a game which gives you thrill, which gives you fun, just finding out the new things, the things you had as a child. That's what I can totally understand. No pressure, just enjoying the game and having fun. That's something a lot of people are missing nowadays in World of Warcraft, especially with all this min-maxing culture. That's something I can totally stand behind, and I think that's a really, really great message, which a lot of players need to learn again, to have fun with a game and not to play it as a job.
And World of Warcraft is amazing at giving you that feeling early on. But then, little by little, it starts nudging you towards something else, towards efficiency, towards group content, and towards optimization, towards the endpoint. That does not mean the game is wrong. An MMORPG without group identity would lose something essential. But it does mean the game eventually rewards certain kinds of players more than others. You can explore for the feeling, but the game rewards the endpoint. You can play alone for meaning, but the game celebrates the group achievement. You can love the world, but the game keeps pointing you towards a system that may not love you back. So why come back? If the pattern is so predictable, why make another character? Why reinstall the game? Why resubscribe? Why begin again when some part of you already knows where it might end? The easy answer is nostalgia. But nostalgia is not just remembering a game. It is remembering who you were when the game mattered. When you return to World of Warcraft Classic, you are not only returning to Azeroth, you are returning to an earlier version of yourself. Maybe younger, maybe freer,
That is exactly the point I had at the beginning. This is the feeling you get from playing back in the days, this thought of having fun as a child with a new game. This is the feeling which has a lot of nostalgia in it, in my opinion. But you can play this nowadays as well. Games are there to have fun with it, to enjoy them and not to work for them.
Maybe lonelier, maybe more easily amazed, maybe someone with fewer responsibilities, fewer open tabs in your mind, fewer reasons to feel tired before you even press play. The game becomes a doorway, and for a little while, when the music starts, that old version of you feels closer again. But that is also where the tension comes from, because the feeling is old, but you are not. The music may be the same, the quests may still ask you to kill 8 boars, the road may still lead to Goldshire, Crossroads, or Razor Hill, but the person holding the mouse has changed. You have different responsibilities now, different social energy, different patience for friction, a different relationship with time. When you were younger, spending an entire evening finding a dungeon group might have felt like adventure. Now, it might feel like admin. When you were younger, joining a guild might have felt like possibility. Now it might feel like another obligation. When you were younger, the endgame might have seemed like a distant kingdom. Now you know what waits there, and part of you hesitates. This is why returning to Classic can feel both beautiful and painful. It brings back the memory of being immersed, but it also reminds you that you are not the same person who got lost there the first time. The game did not simply change. You did. There is a particular shame in the character selection screen. Not dramatic shame, just a small familiar embarrassment. A row of unfinished lives, the level 18 rogue, the level 31 priest, the level 42 hunter. The warrior you were definitely going to main this time. Each one began with conviction, and each one became evidence. And still, the urge to restart is powerful.
But that's okay, I mean, you don't have to finish those characters. Is this really something a lot of people of you are thinking like? Do you really think it's something I haven't finished, something I wasn't able to finish off? Something I failed at, maybe even? I think a game should never pressure you in any sort or way. It's there for you to have fun with it. That's the main reason you should play a game. Sort of escapism from the world, something you can enjoy and you can fall back on. Not a job, not a chore, not something which should hunt you. You should enjoy it, and if you don't enjoy it, then you shouldn't play it. Then you should do something else with your time. Because there are so many great things out there in the world you can do. Don't waste your time with something you don't enjoy.
Because restarting solves almost everything. It removes the pressure of later levels. It restores fast progress. It gives you clean bags, clean talents, clean expectations. No unfinished dungeon quest judging you. No vague sense that you should be doing something more efficient. Just a new character, a simple weapon, and a nearby NPC with a yellow exclamation mark. The early game rewards you constantly. You complete a quest, you get XP, you level up, you get stronger. You train a new ability and your rotation changes. You enter a new zone and the world expands. The loop is simple. Do this and you will grow. And for a while that feels incredible. But later, the rewards get slower, more uncertain, more depending on other people. You might run a dungeon and get nothing. You might raid for weeks and wait for one drop. You might need a group just to reach the next meaningful step. For some players, that makes the reward feel more valuable. And for others, it makes the world feel trapped behind friction. So restarting is not irrational. It is a return to the part of the game where the promise still feels clean. Do this and you will grow. No application needed, no performance review, no calendar invite, no voice chat, just you and the road. The forever solo player often gets told the same thing, that you are playing the wrong game. And honestly, I understand why people
Yeah, that was exactly my argument the whole time here, yeah. Interesting to see that he speaks about it now.
say that. World of Warcraft is an MMO. It is built around shared worlds, group challenges, guilds, raids, and other people. So if you avoid most of that, it is fair to ask why you are there at all. But the answer is not that complicated. Solo players are not imagining the appeal of these games. They are responding to something real: the world, the scale, the continuity, the feeling that other people exist around you, even if you don't want to be deeply tied to them. A single-player RPG can give you a story. It can give you quests. It can give you a beautiful world. But it cannot give you the strange feeling of passing another real person on the road at 2 a.m. It cannot give you a city full of players doing their own errands. It cannot give you the quiet comfort of being alone, together. And that might be the key to the whole thing. The solo MMORPG player does not necessarily want isolation. They want a world that is alive, but not demanding. They want people nearby, but not always attached. And early World of Warcraft gives you that beautifully. The problem is that the game changes the terms as you go. At first, belonging just means existing in the world, but later, belonging starts to mean being useful to a group. And not everyone wants their free time to become a test of usefulness. For a long
Okay, that's a good point, I see. So you want to play in a world with other players, but you don't want to really interact with them as soon as it gets restful. Reminds me of RP players.
time, I thought the solution was to become a different kind of player, more social, more disciplined, and more committed. The kind of player who joins the guild, reaches the endgame, signs up for raids, leads the fights, and farms the gear, and becomes known. And maybe for some people that happens. Maybe they find the right guild, maybe they find the right class, maybe they discover that what they feared was actually what they needed. But for others, the answer is not transformation, it's acceptance. Acceptance does not mean never grouping. It does not mean rejecting the social sides of the game. It does not mean pretending MMORPGs are single-player games. It just means looking at your own pattern without contempt. Maybe you like leveling more than raiding. Maybe you like the idea of guilds more than the reality of being in one. Maybe you enjoy other players most when they are nearby, but not depending on you. Maybe you return to Classic not to finish something, but to feel something. And maybe that is enough. There is a strange peace in realizing you do not have to justify every game you play by completing it. You don't have to reach max level for the hours before max level to have mattered. You don't have to see every raid for the world to have been real. You don't have to become central to a community to have belonged. The forever solo player is still a player. The unfinished character is still a character. And the journey still happened, even if it ended before the game said it should. World of Warcraft is often remembered through its grand social moments. The first raid clear, the guild that stayed up all night, the impossible dungeon run, and the server event, the friendship that became real, and those memories deserve their place. They are part of what made the game extraordinary. But there is another version of World of Warcraft, a quieter one. A version made of empty roads, half-finished quests, music drifting through forests, and strangers passing without speaking, and characters who never became powerful, but still felt alive. For some of us, that was the game. Not the waiting room before the real game, but the game itself. The forever solo player exists in an unusual space. Part of the world, but not fully inside its social machinery, and drawn to people but cautious of obligation, motivated by progress but resistant to performance, nostalgic for a past self but shaped by a present one. And maybe that is why the cycle repeats, because every new character offers the same fragile hope. Maybe this time the world will stay open, and maybe this time the pressure will not arrive, and maybe this time I can keep the feeling without losing myself to the structure around it. And even when that does not happen, even when the character is abandoned and when the subscription lapses again, the experience was not meaningless. It gave you something. A few evenings of flow, a few quiet walks, a few reminders of who you were, a few moments where the world felt big and you felt small, and that was not a bad thing. So maybe
That's the best thing which can happen to you, the flow he spoke about here. Losing yourself in the time, losing yourself in the gameplay and enjoying the game. And it doesn't matter where it goes to, it doesn't matter if there's a goal or not. As long as you have time, some hours of escapism, some hours of relaxing, then it's absolutely worth it.
question is not why do I keep quitting World of Warcraft? Maybe the better question is, what part of World of Warcraft do I keep coming back for? Because once you know that, you can stop treating the rest as a personal failure. You can stop apologizing for not becoming the kind of player the endgame was built for. You can finally admit something that should have been obvious all along. A game's value is not determined by how closely you follow its intended path. It is determined by how deeply it resonates with the person playing it. And for some of us, the road was always enough. Before you go, I want to ask you something. What part of World of Warcraft do you actually come back for? Is it the raids or the leveling, the music or the people, or just the feeling of being there again? Please share your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this essay, I'd appreciate it a lot if you subscribe and even hit the bell button if you want more.
Absolutely, go to his channel, I will link him down in the video description, think on games, and absolutely subscribe to him. I honestly didn't talk much in this video. The reason for this is I had to thought about a lot of things he said. I think this was really great insight on a mind on playing solo World of Warcraft, not going into all those pressure this game can bring you with the social aspects about it. I'm a completely different kind of guy, I have to say. I completely think different about World of Warcraft and MMOs in general, but I can understand his points, and I think his essay was really well done and well argumented, well structured, and gave great insights in his thought process. So I really enjoyed this video. Go to his channel, subscribe, and give a like on his video here as well. And I'm really curious about your thoughts on this video and World of Warcraft in general. Are you the kind of player who enjoys playing solo, or are you the player who looks to get into groups and get into endgame? Let me know in the comments down below what you think about it and how you enjoy World of Warcraft and MMOs in general. I really liked this video, and for now, thank you very much for watching. If you found this useful, consider to like and subscribe for more World of Warcraft content in the future.